Welcome to this explainer here on the FMCG.network YouTube channel. Today, we're walking through the ultimate, completely trustworthy guide to avoiding FMCG compliance disasters in the EU, all by using artificial intelligence. Look, if you work in fast-moving consumer goods, you already know the European Union is arguably the absolute strictest regulatory environment in the entire world. Keeping up with that constant stream of complex European compliance rules, it's practically a full-time job. But what if your AI assistant could do all that heavy lifting for you? Well, today, we're counting down the top 10 AI tools and skills that you can plug directly into your workflow to absolutely conquer the European market. Let's get started. Picture this. It's 4 p.m. on a Friday. The classic Friday afternoon panic sets in. The package and artwork is totally signed off. The massive production run is completely finished. The pallets are literally loaded onto the trucks. And then your heart stops. You realize a mandatory allergen wasn't bolded on the ingredient list. Or even worse, a banned cosmetic ingredient somehow snuck its way into the final formulation. We've all had those terrifying moments, right? A single font formatting error or a tiny oversight doesn't just ruin your weekend, it can lead to a massive, incredibly expensive product recall. Millions of euros and hard-earned retail relationships can literally vanish overnight. For years, the industry standard has been what we kind of just call the old way. This basically meant hunting through massive, outdated spreadsheets and manually digging through hundreds of pages of PDF regulations. And the reality is, human eyes get tired. Hitting Control F simply doesn't understand context, and it certainly won't catch a recent legal amendment you might have missed. It's painful, it's slow, and it carries enormous financial risk. But the new way completely changes the game. By integrating AI tools, you get instant, highly accurate cross-checks against official EU databases. It takes a high-stress process that used to drag on for days and transforms it into a task that takes mere seconds. It finally gives you peace of mind, and honestly, saves your budget. To keep things super structured and easy to digest for you today, we've organized our top 10 countdown into 3 core functional categories. First up, safety and allergens. Next, we'll explore ingredients and additives. And finally, we'll wrap the whole thing up with smart labeling and claims. Okay, let's dive right into this with tool number 1, the Allergen Cross-Reference Tool. Think of this as your absolute first line of defense. It reads Annex 2 of Regulation EU No. 1169/2021. Basically, you can think of this annex as the golden rulebook for food allergies in Europe. It's the official list of 14 mandatory allergens. The tool's entire job is to catch the exact allergen that needs bold type on your ingredients list way before the label ever goes to print. Missing these doesn't just cause a recall, it literally puts consumer lives at risk. Now, what's really fascinating here is that the AI doesn't just blindly scan for 14 trigger words. It actually understands the specific EU processing exemptions. For example, it knows the scientific exemptions where a highly refined derivative doesn't actually need to be highlighted. It even handles complex sulfite math. In plain English, the AI actually does the math to see if your trace sulfites are high enough to hit that 10 milligram per kilogram threshold that legally requires a warning. This ensures you never overlabel and lose customers, or underlabel and risk a massive fine. Let's move on to tool number 2, the pesticide maximum residue level lookup. This tool is absolutely vital before you import any raw materials or release your batches. It automatically checks Regulation EC 396/2005 to ensure you know the exact EU pesticide residue limits. Why does this matter so much? Well, because pesticide limits update frequently in the EU. This tool prevents what's known as illegal blending, which is the unlawful practice of mixing a contaminated batch with a clean one to lower the average. It catches this right at the source, meaning you aren't relying on some outdated spreadsheet from 6 months ago. And this brings us to a huge pain point for QA managers. Whenever a lab tests your ingredients, there is always a margin of error. The AI handles this complex compliance math instantly. It automatically applies the EU's official 50% Santé leeway, which is basically a legally allowed margin of error, directly to your lab results. It even calculates Article 20 processing or drying factors for things like dried oregano leaves. You just feed it your raw laboratory analytical result, and the AI evaluates the compliance instantly. It does all the heavy lifting for you. Wrapping up our safety category is tool number 3, the Date Marking and Shelf Life Calculator. This tool makes sure you know the exact required wording and precision a product needs before the packaging goes anywhere near a printer. It understands the critical legal difference between a use-by date, which is strictly about food safety and perishability, and a best-before date, which is just about quality. The AI ensures you choose the exact legal phrasing, totally removing all the guesswork from shelf life compliance. Let's transition over to our next category and see how this builds into product development. Tool number 4 is the novel food eligibility check. Seriously, this is an absolute lifesaver. Before you spend a huge chunk of your sourcing and labeling budget, this tool checks the EU novel food catalog to see if an ingredient is actually authorized. Imagine buying 2 tons of a trendy superfood like ashwagandha, chia seeds, or CBD, only to realize the EU hasn't actually authorized it for your specific food category yet. This tool tells you instantly if you're dealing with a costly, unauthorized novel food issue. Tool number 5 is a major game changer specifically for the beauty sector, the Cosmetic INCI and Annex 2 and 3 screen. It screens cosmetic ingredient names or CAS numbers, which are basically the unique digital fingerprints for any chemical, against Regulation EC 1223/2009. The entire goal here is to find banned or restricted ingredients while your formulation can still be easily tweaked in the lab, rather than discovering a devastating problem during your final safety assessment when millions of euros are already on the line. And the AI is incredibly smart about how it reads your formulations. It doesn't just look for words, it deeply understands product context. For instance, a chemical that is perfectly safe for a face wash that goes right down the drain might be strictly limited or completely banned in a facial serum that stays on your skin all day. If you tell it whether your product is a leave-on or a rinse-off product, it automatically applies the correct concentration limits straight from the annexes. Next up is tool number 6, the E-number and additive lookup. You never, ever want a major retailer flagging an additive on your ingredient list. Retailers have incredibly strict additive policies, and those EU positive lists are notoriously complex depending on your exact food category. This tool screens E-numbers against the positive lists in Regulation EC 1333/2008. It tells you exactly which food categories an E-number is actually approved for, the maximum permitted levels, and any specific conditions of use, way before it ever becomes a commercial problem. Kicking off our smart labeling category is tool number 7, the Nutrition Declaration Calculator. If you've ever spent hours building a nutrition panel by hand in a spreadsheet, agonizing over the FIC rounding rules, this tool is going to be your new best friend. EU rounding isn't just standard math. Sometimes 0.4 grams rounds to 0.5, sometimes it legally rounds down to 0, depending on the specific nutrient. It's a massive headache for humans, but it's completely effortless for this AI tool. The crucial point here is how seamless this entire process is. You simply input your raw recipe data per 100 grams, so your fat, saturates, carbohydrates, sugars, protein, and salt, and in literally seconds, you'll get back a flawless, print-ready nutrition panel. It calculates the energy values using Annex 14 conversion factors and perfectly formats the panel according to the very specific, legally required rounding rules of Annex 13 Part B. The amount of time and sheer frustration this saves QA teams is absolutely incredible. Tool number 8 is the EU Health Claim Checker. We all know the classic, never-ending battle between marketing and compliance, right? Marketing teams love to use punchy phrases like supports the immune system. But before that artwork goes to print, this tool steps in as the ultimate neutral referee. It cross-references the proposed text against Regulation EC 1924/2006 and the official EU Union Register. It guarantees that the specific claim for that specific nutrient is actually legally authorized, keeping everyone well out of trouble. Tool number 9 brings us directly to packaging, food contact material compliance. This screens materials against Regulation EC 1935/2004 and the sweeping new EU packaging rules. It's absolutely vital for checking specific migration limits, testing for PFAS, which you probably know better as forever chemicals, and understanding the very latest bisphenol A or BPA ban rules. If you're trying to keep up with massive new legislations like the PPWR, this tool ensures your material specifications are fully compliant before you even buy them. Finishing off our top 10 countdown is the organic labeling and certification check. If you want to use that coveted Euroleaf logo, this tool verifies whether your recipe actually passes the strict 95% organic threshold under Regulation EU 2018/848. But it goes so much further than just the ingredients. It also checks the highly visual, very specific co-location rules. So it's not just about what's in the product, it's about exactly where the logo sits next to the origin code on the physical box. Section 1. Trusting AI compliance, quality, and accuracy. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. If you're a non-tech-savvy FMCG professional, you're probably wondering, can I actually trust an AI with strict legal compliance? What if it hallucinates an answer? It's a completely valid question, and the platform has a very specific built-in way of handling this to ensure total trust. The system uses strict AI confidence mechanics.
Every single check reports a confidence score right behind the scenes. If the AI is highly confident, scoring between 80 and 100, it provides the answer. But if the confidence drops below that 80 threshold, or 90 for complex math, like the nutrition calculator, the AI flat out refuses to guess. Instead, the uncertain item is immediately flagged and sent to a human review queue. This means you never ever have to worry about the AI hallucinating some fake legal loophole.
Furthermore, every single capability on the FMCG.network platform operates under a strict factual retrieval policy. The AI is designed to explicitly cite official EU sources, pointing you directly to the exact regulation or annex. As the disclaimer clearly states, it tells you what the regulation specifies. It never blindly guesses or asserts final market clearance. AI isn't replacing your QA manager. It is giving them a superpower to do their job 10 times faster and with zero blind spots. Section 2. Upgrade your AI. No coding required. So how do you actually start using these tools? You might think you need to be some hotshot software engineer to set this up, but you really don't. The platform is designed specifically for non-tech savvy users. You don't have to build anything from scratch. You just have to upgrade the AI assistant you're likely already using every single day. It is a remarkably simple 3-step process. Step 1, visit the website at FMCG.network. Step 2, just install the MCP server plugin. Think of it kind of like downloading an easy app for your AI directly into your existing AI client. And step 3, just talk to it naturally. You can literally paste in a recipe and say, cross-check this against the 14 EU allergens, and the AI will automatically pick the right tool from the directory and do all the work for you. The technology is here. The official EU data is fully integrated and the tools are absolutely ready to go. The AI revolution in EU FMCG compliance is already happening. The only question left is, are you going to keep digging through outdated PDFs, or are you going to let AI do the heavy lifting? Don't let a simple labeling error cost your brand millions. Head over to fmcg.network right now, explore the directory, and install the MCP server plugin to empower your team today. Thanks so much for joining this explainer, and happy compliant formulating.